I'm Dorothy Rowe, and the video you're about to watch is a clip from a live webinar. If you enjoy the content of this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you. For the sake of everybody's highest support in improving the ability to find the seeds of suffering or the seeds of imbalances or illnesses or anything, I'm going to take a drink and then let's go into some healing to see if we can wake up that area of the physique, to see if just to do it. To wake up that level of the physiology and to enhance or optimize your ability to navigate around in the astral level of the physiology so that you can always find the seed. You can always find the seed of suffering. Just feeling into the group. Because I don't make a plan when I do these healings. I'm just cueing off of you guys. And awareness settling down into that astral level, that web of life level of creation. Some of you might get visuals on that. Some of you might just feel a little more connected. Every thread in the astral body and every thread of the web of life has a flavor or an energy signature, we could call it, a feeling associated with it. I'm definitely feeling compassion, and compassion, as the compassion rises, and that's a fairly standard now, it's a standard feature of the healing process, is that the healing process is based on a flow of compassion. The compassion catalyzes the movement of consciousness. And in this case, the accompanying feeling with the compassion is a form of discrimination, but it's a form of sensory discrimination, particularly affecting the occipital lobes. They're in the back of your head back here. And the eyes. Occipital means eyes. And noticing how the web of life and also the astral body in the physiology has both threads of consciousness and also nodes of consciousness. So where the threads overlap or where they meet each other, there's like a joint. And in the joint are the seeds. Seeds are found in the joint. So they're found in places where the threads of the web of life converge. Well, that's so beautiful, right? So interesting. All kinds of seeds, all the seeds that give rise to all this creation, all the things that we like and we want to keep and we want to sustain over the long term, and all the parts, and also the seeds of suffering also. So what that means is, on the journey to find the seed, we have to follow the threads of consciousness in the astral level, sometimes into dark spots. Sometimes we have to go into some dark places. Overwhelm is almost always accompanied by fear. And there can be habits and impressions and pain bodies and attachments, particularly in the adrenal glands and the spleen. Looks like sometimes the hot digestive organs around the middle of the body. So clearing fear from this solar plexus region of the physiology. And what clears fear is trust. Trust. And what gives rise to trust is truth. And how we stabilize ourselves in a place of truth is healing the ego. There are positions for the sense of self, for the sense of self that are so authentic, right? That are so grounded in the connection anchored to the source of creation, that it's really easy to know the truth from the non-truth. And of course, for finding the seeds of suffering, that's super important, right? There are actually, what I'm noticing is that at the causal level of the physiology, there's some very fine adjustments. So this is where the energy healing, I say it happens in this gap right here. There's some shifting going on in the gap, turning in the gap, that's causing a rearrangement and increase in orderliness and increase in dharma. For the, if you're not sure about dharma, you can look that up on my knowledge base. For the structures, for all of us, those regions of the causal body are reshaping themselves to accommodate they remind me more and more of musical instruments, to accommodate the presence of truth, like your truth meter. Think of it as like a part of your causal body whose job it is to make sure that you're getting the real story, the straight story. But, I was looking at the truth meter this morning because I thought, oh, the truth meter, that must be important, right? An important part of finding the seeds of suffering is we need to be sure that we're getting the straight story. And what I realized is that the more the all aspects of oneself are anchored into the source of creation, the more the truth is present in every expression of oneself. Every part of what we think we are is anchored. When the more every part is anchored here, the more truth is present. So even though there are surely laws of nature whose responsibility it is to make the truth clear, these laws of nature don't only exist in a single region of the causal body. And I was looking at this region the other day, and it's kind of shaped like this, right? Like it's got more like a kind of a pyramid shape, or more like a cone kind of shape, where it's more, the anchor is the dominating value of that particular region of the causal body. The anchor is the dominant, the anchor to wholeness. But then what I was looking at this morning, and I was realizing, it's like a fractal in form that exists in all parts of the universe. And it's like little anchors that are going to wholeness all the time, all the time. So it's there, you could say that, or there's one area of the causal body that's just for anchoring to truth. Or you could say the one area also is very systemically spread, and it connects all the areas. It's part of all the areas. It can be part of all the areas. It's expanding and stabilizing as part of all the areas of everyone's causal body. That's what the shift was. The shift was that we've got areas of our causal body that are responsible for the way our emotions show up, or responsible for the way we deal with different types of relationships, or are responsible for how we create wealth in our life, or are responsible for all types of aspects related to the physiology itself, how we age, and all kinds of things. But this truth meter, it it almost looks like some kind of a light medicine washing through the causal body, that's like little suction cups, to the absolute. That's what they look like. holding on to the absolute from every point, every point, every point, every point, every point. And there's a certain amount of letting go. There's a certain amount of purifying. There's a certain amount of redistribution of body and mental, emotional, psychological resources, because that little adjustment of turning all the different functions of the causal body around so they all have little suction cups on them that, I mean, it's just a metaphor, but you know what I'm saying, that they're like anchoring into every part is anchoring in. It has some, it's like changing slightly the shape of every region of the causal body so that they're all just a little bit more oriented toward wholeness. Not so much that we lose contact or connection with the whole diversified field of creation. And of course, some of the regions of the causal body are very specifically set up to engage with the diversifying element of creation. And so those also, though, there's some of them are saying, no, I can't, because I'm all about separation. I'm all about going up to the surface and showing how things show up at the surface. And I'm like, yeah, but don't forget, even the surface is still part of the one. So yeah, you can. So it's clearing some beliefs there. And I'm seeing that some of these beliefs are also clearing in the ancestral patterning of the physiology and the DNA and so like that. But we're getting a little bit off topic because I wanted to do the healing for enhancing your ability. But actually, you know, a shift for the ancestors could be very good in enhancing each one of our ability to just really hone in and find that seed, whatever it is behind whatever is not working right. One of the things that's happening now is a lot of seeds of suffering are kind of showing up. I'm seeing them showing up. And for the person who gets overwhelmed over here, there's a tie-in to romantic experiences, because some types of romantic experiences can be quite overwhelming, even physically. You know, being in a romantic liaison with somebody can be very, like, there's an element of being kind of, it's intense, it can be intense, especially when someone's young and they're in some kind of relationship like that. It can be very intense. Grounding and anchoring and stabilizing. So that same kind of suction cup effect is there, kind of washing through. I said it was kind of almost like a light medicine, because it was like scintillating through the whole causal field to make sure that everything's got a really good, strong, solid connection to wholeness. And you know, it scintillates through all the memory patterns and experiences and impressions left from these moments of feeling a little bit out of control, or you know, not fully, like, very vulnerable, very vulnerable. So some generalized healing there for the person who asked the question, for all of us, and then also specific for the person who asked the question. Thank you. That was a great question.